For this lesson, we will learn how to multiply fractions. So to get started, I want to go through a little bit of terminology just to refresh your minds on parts of fractions. So the numerator is the top part of a fraction. The denominator is the bottom part of a fraction. A mixed number is a number that has whole numbers and fractions. And an improper fraction is a fraction with a numerator larger than the denominator. So let's get to actually multiplying fractions. So basically what we're going to do is rewrite multiplication as a single fraction by multiplying the numerators and multiplying the denominators. One main thing we're going to have to do is if there's a mixed number, we're going to have to change it to an improper fraction. So there's two main methods. The first method that I'm going to go through is using prime factorization. Basically all we're going to do is cancel common factors. And the reason we can do that is because they're just values of 1. And then all we do is multiply the remaining factors after we canceled all the common ones. So let's take a look at an example. 20/30 times 15/3. So first off I have 12, the prime factorization of that. I got 2 times 6, and 6 can be broken down into 2 times 3. Since I have all prime numbers, I have my prime factorization. The next number is 30. That can be broken down into 2 times 15, and 15 can be broken into 5 times 3. Again, all prime numbers, so I'm finished. And then 15 we just did was 5 times 3. And then the other number 3 is already prime, so I'm done. So here's what we're left with. 12 becomes 3 times 2 times 2, 30 becomes 5 times 3 times 2, and 15 becomes 5 times 3. So now I want to go through and cancel all the common factors. And to do this, I like to start just in the numerator from left to right. So I see there's a 3 in the numerator and denominator, so I cancel those. There's a 2 in the numerator and denominator. There's a 5, and there's that n3. So now all I'm left with in the numerator of the first fraction is a 2 over 1. Then since everything was canceled in the second fraction, I just have 1 over 1. 2 times 1 gives me 2, 1 times 1 gives me 1, or 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2. So the second method I'm going to go through is just using division. And when I mean divide, I mean I'm going to use common factors from the numerator and denominator to reduce my numbers. So let's take a look at an example of this. 3/4 times 6/27. Well, I'm going to start with the top in the numerator. In the top left I have a 3, and I see that that can be reduced with 27. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 27 9 times. So now I have the two fractions 1/4 times 6/9. Now I take a look at the number 6. Since 6 and 4 are both even, 2 can go into them. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now I have the fractions 1/2 times 3/9. But again, I can see that I can reduce 3 and 9 since they have a common factor of 3. And 3 goes into 3 once, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now I have 1/2 times 1/3. Since there's no more common factors, I just multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 3 is 6. So my answer is 1/6. Alright, let's take a look at an example with mixed numbers. So you have 1 3/8 times 2 12/30. First thing I need to do is create those mixed numbers into improper fractions. And in order to do that, I need to take that whole number and multiply it by the denominators. So I'm going to take that 1 and multiply it by the denominator of 8, and then add the 3 that I already had in my fraction. And then I'm going to bring down my fraction bar, and since my denominator was 8, I'm going to leave it as 8. Bring down my multiplication. Then I have 2. I'm going to multiply that by the denominator, which is 30. And then I'm going to add the 12 that I already have in the fraction. So I bring down my fraction bar. Since my denominator was 30, it will remain 30. So if I multiply these out and add them up, I get 8 plus 3 is 11. 2 times 30 is 60, plus 12 gives me 72. So my two fractions are 11/8 times 72 over 30. Now I just go through the same process as before. I take a look at the number 11, and I see it has no common factors with 8 or 30, so I move on to 72, which has a common factor of 8 with 8. So I take 72, divide it by 8, that gives me 9. 8 divided by 8 gives me 1. So my new fractions are 11 over 1 times 9 over 30. Since 9 and 30 have a common factor of 3, I'm going to divide 9 by 3, which gives me 3. And then I'm going to divide 30 by 3, which gives me 10. So I have 11 over 1 times 3/10. Since there's no more common factors, I'm just going to multiply. 11 times 3 is 33, and 1 times 10 is 10. So I get my answer of 33/10. But I can change this back into a mixed number since my numerator is larger than the denominator. In order to do that, I just take 33 and divide by 10. So 10 goes into 33 3 times, and 10 times 3 is 30, so I subtract that. So 33 minus 30 gives me a remainder of 3. So I have 3 whole parts and 3/10 left. So my answer as a mixed number would be 3 and 3/10. So that's how you multiply fractions.